Have you ever thought, like, what is my purpose in life? Like, I have this job or I have this career. Maybe I'm like really successful and everything's great, but I don't feel like I'm living a purpose driven life, if you will. By the way, read that book, it's really good. Look, I spent many years trying to figure this out for myself. And I reached heights in my career where I worked with the biggest celebrities in the world: Johnny Depp, Usher. I worked with brands like Coca-Cola, Ford, Got Milk, tons of successful companies and individuals. And I still, as a coach, I still work with people who are highly successful, who on the outside you look at them and be like, oh, they have it all fucking figured out. They got all the money in the world and all the success and all the opportunity, but you'd be wrong. Because even though they've achieved all of these levels of success or whatever that looks like, on the inside it's this purpose, this sense of purpose, a sense of meaning. And most of them, yes, that's great and they're happy with that. However, there's this deeper longing for, but what's my purpose? Like, why am I here? So if you've thought about this, I'm going to talk about it a little bit and hopefully bring some insight to you as to how you can find your individual purpose in your life. So let's get into it. Now, for me, the height of my career, I was a photographer in the entertainment industry, and I was doing some consulting on some celebrities' brands and designing for their branding and their merch and all kinds of stuff like that. And I had done some fashion stuff, and I had done some like fine art stuff and some painting and graphic design and all that. And I was well versed in all of this. I even got into music at the age of 30 and took it very seriously because one of my neighbors was Skrillex, and I had kind of kindled an acquaintance with him. And I thought, you know what, like, if I have an opportunity to be friends with this guy, and I really want to do music, I might as well fucking get good at music and like put that out there and just let them know, hey man, I'd love to be a part of whatever it is that you're doing, whatever that looked like. And I thought that was my purpose, right? Like, my purpose is to make music and to be, honestly, I thought my purpose was to be like some sort of celebrity, right? And in some regard, I mean, I guess I am if I have like a big following or something like that, but it's so different now. It's not even the same mindset. However, I was in this, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was in this like state of I need to find my purpose, and my purpose is this creation process, right? And I got very, very overwhelmed because what I was chasing wasn't really my purpose. It was, at the end of the day, it was like vanity. And so for most of us, whether you're working a regular job or you've achieved some sort of level of success and you're trying to find that deeper meaning, which might give you a sense of purpose, right? Here's what I would say. It wasn't until I sat down with myself and asked myself these questions. What do you want? Say you're on your deathbed. You're so fortunate enough to die a peaceful, gradual death as your family is around you and saying their farewells, and you lived this fulfilled life. And you did everything that you ever wanted. And you can leave this earth saying, knowing that I did that, I'm good. And so for me, what that was helping people discover who they really are, what their true meaning of being is. And in a nutshell, you are love. You are enough. You are capable. You are an image of God, an image of the almighty creative force of all that is in this universe, embodied in a human body with limitless potential. Now, there are beliefs in your brain and in your nervous system that, well, are contrary to that. And those come from generational trauma and all that type of shit. Now, getting to this place of answering this question of what do I want? What did I do with my life? What was my purpose? Well, it requires facing particular fears, facing particular traumatic events. And this is in the work that I do. Before I start working with anybody on their business, we dive deep into the personal shit, because in that personal shit, there are belief systems that are keeping you stuck. That's why anyone feels stuck in their life, is because there is a belief around a particular situation or thing about yourself that is keeping you stuck. And in order to identify that belief, you have to come in and get to the root of it, right? And so we'll dive into the stories of their life and their childhood and their relationship with their parents, because our parents are our greatest influences and help form our beliefs about who we are in this world. And so a lot of people struggle with finding their purpose or meaning because of the beliefs that their parents have already set in early childhood. So we do that inner work, and we dive deep, and we get to the root of the problem, and we unravel it so that we can move forward. Because in moving forward, without doing that, well, I can give you all the blueprints in the world to build anything that you need, but if you don't have the belief, you're not going to do shit. It's like, if you don't have the tools, how are you going to build it? Here's the blueprints, but you don't got the tools, you ain't going to build shit. You're just going to have a cool looking blueprint. So what I would say is dive deep inside. What is it that you want? And it has to scare you. It has to scare you. What are you afraid to say? Now, I have this journal right here, as a matter of fact. And this was the first journal that I ever really wrote in, digging into my life and saying, like, you know, what do I want? Where's my energy right now? Where is it going? And what do I want to achieve, right? And so I think this is the journal that I wrote in who I wanted to coach and how I wanted to coach people. And I don't know if I can find it right now, but I remember feeling super fucking nervous as I wrote this. And I was like, oh, I can't coach people who make over $1 million a year. Like, I can't, I'll have to find it or share it in a different video, but I can't do that. Like, I've never made $1 million in a year. Like, how could I ever do that? And I was like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, just because you're the coach doesn't mean you have to also be the star of the team, right? And so at the end of the day, that scared me. And so what is it for you that is scaring you to say, but would give you the ultimate fulfillment at the end of your life to say, I did this with my life? And so for me, it was like, like photography and working with celebrities and big brands and being like a creative director and consultant for these people, like that doesn't feel purpose driven for me. But getting to the end of my life and saying, I helped these particular individuals find who they were, find what their power was, and lived authentically through that and created through that. And I helped create with these people, not just on the creation level, but on the deeply rooted level of self-discovery and empowerment, so that whatever we created, if we choose to partner together, would be purpose-driven, would be meaningful, right? And so that was my particular thing. Now, what is it for you? Take some time, pause the video, like write that shit out, because at the end of the day, look, you're not getting out alive, and you have to remember this shit. So before you go, whenever you do, what is that going to be? And if you're in a regular ass job trying to figure that out, your best bet is to sit with a pen and paper and ask yourself this question: what do I want? What do I want? And be mindful of this. It could change, and that's okay. That's totally fine, okay? Let it change, because as you dig, like things are gonna come up, and like maybe that fear is so strong when you say something, you're like, oh, it was a little scared to say it. I said it, and then I did it, and then I realized it wasn't it. It was actually this thing that I was afraid of. And so now you're gonna pursue that thing. But it took you getting to the first thing for the next thing to be revealed to you. So if you're sitting there trying to figure it all out at once, don't do that. Just what is that thing, right? And so in my situation, I was terrified at first to say, like, I want to coach these particular people or whatever. So I started like shooting low ball shit, like, oh, I'll do like $1,000, $2,000 here. Like maybe I'll work with these people in this, you know, and I was like, I got there only to realize that you need to get here. This is what you're afraid of. And I'll never forget the first time that I signed my first $25,000 client, where I was like, the night before, literally, I had changed the price. And I was like, no, I need to stop being afraid of asking for what I want. And that night, I went and I changed the price. And I was like, oh, man, people are going to see this and they're not even going to want to fucking work with me. It's too high. It's like, who has $25,000 disposable income to invest in this? The next day, I signed a $25,000 client. And that's when I knew, I was like, okay, I'm done doubting myself. This is where I want to go. And for me, it's not about the money necessarily. It's about the value, but also the lifestyle and structure that I wanted to develop for myself. So it was like, I want to work less and live more. And I want to make more impact, but I also want to be free with my family. So what does that look like? You know, so what does that look like for you? I'm sure most of us don't want to work 40 hours a fucking week, because it's like, it's not necessary, right? So at the end of the day, sit down, write it out, ask yourself. And you're just going to have to take the plunge and say, like, what is it for me? What is it that I want? How do I start pursuing what it is that I care about the most in order to live with purpose, right? And I'll end with this, because this is the foundational belief that you must understand before you pursue anything. Your identity is not in your purpose or your pursuit or any of that. Your identity is love. And all that love begets. Therefore, whatever you're pursuing in creating out of your life, in whatever that purpose is that you develop, it must be done with and in love. Kindness, patience, understanding, selflessness. What would you do for free forever if you could, right? You would do this shit for free. And then do it for free. Get feedback. Get testimonies. And then dive in and figure out how to make it work as a business, if you will, if that's what you're trying to do. Or if you already have your business, what is it that you would do for free that you could invest the money that you've already generated from past successes into this new purposeful life, right? And doing that with love. So I hope you found that helpful. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think, because I really want to understand where your mind is at and how I can help you guys furthermore. And if you haven't already signed up for the waitlist for my core collective, do so. It is, I believe, in the link in my bio. If you have any questions about that or where to sign up, just shoot me a DM or shoot me a comment or something like that. I read all of that shit myself. I don't have anybody else running any of this. It's just me. So, and then share your thoughts. If you want to hear another video on a particular topic, let me know what you want that to be. And if it's good enough and I feel like it makes sense and I might have knowledge on it, then fucking I'll share it. Otherwise, take care of yourself. Love yourself. Be kind and be patient to yourself. And I'll see you in the next video. Thumbs up. Who does that? Who's this? I do.